When I was first getting started out as an independent marketing strategist, one of the things I was most excited about was setting up a tech stack that would allow me to do the best possible work for clients, manage my business effectively, and ultimately make myself as productive as possible. And after 3 years of running my own business, doing Webflow development and a bunch of other digital marketing tasks for clients, I can say now that my tech stack is finally in a place where I feel very confident in all the tools I use to run and manage my business. In this video, I'm gonna be breaking down all the different tools I use in my marketing business, both to help clients achieve their marketing goals, as well as to run and manage my business effectively internally. What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Bailey Canning. I'm an independent marketing strategist based in Denver, Colorado. Whether you're a marketing tech nerd like myself, a fellow entrepreneur, or even a marketing director that's looking to improve your company's workflow, I can confidently say that there's definitely gonna be a few tools in this video that you've probably never heard of, however, could provide tremendous return on investment for the different types of marketing and operation activities you're currently running in your business. Feel free to use the timestamps in this video to skip around to a category that's a bit more relevant to what you're currently interested in the moment. Otherwise, if you're interested in learning more about the tools that I mentioned in this video, there are links in the description for all the tools mentioned where you can quickly jump to their website and learn more about them. Some of them are going to be affiliate links. However, these are tools I'm using anyway, and I'm only taking advantage of the affiliate program so that I can generate some passive income and hopefully put more resources into the channel here. On that note, if you're at all interested in the branding, web design, or digital marketing work I'm helping my clients with, definitely feel free to subscribe to the channel because I'll be giving you a behind the scenes look at that work, as well as also giving you tips and tactics you can use if you're a marketing professional that'll help you grow your business, land more clients, and ultimately run your business more effectively so you can achieve any sort of business goals that you have. Now, with that all out of the way, let's jump into the screen share so you can see all the tools I use to run and manage my business effectively. I figure it makes the most amount of sense to start with what is become essentially the main dashboard or even mission control, if you will, where I run my business out of. And that tool is going to be called Bonsai. Now, I'm not going to share the dashboard of my own work here just because there's so much sensitive information in terms of client contact details and billing information and payments. I use it primarily for proposals, number one. So it has a really great proposal system where you can have templated proposals. You can have your clients digitally sign them. You can get payments right away as soon as they sign the proposal. It's also white labeled, so it looks very official. And I like the designs overall. You can have different packages even included, so lots of flexibility and lots of options here. I then will also use it for contracts just to make the engagement official. The e-signature functionality makes it a binding legal agreement, whereas if you use a proposal only, it does not. And again, you have automatic templates here, you have some automations, you can capture payment right away with this tool as well. I also use it for invoices. The invoices are great. There's a lot of different flexibility. Before Bonsai, I was using a bunch of other tools. So I was using Prospero for proposals. I was using FreshBooks for accounting. And Bonsai is a simplified thing. So like I said, I have invoices here where again, I can have recurring subscription invoices. So this is very helpful for clients where I have a marketing retainer engagement. So instead of needing to send them a invoice every month, they just need to pay it once and then it will automatically bill them the same method, the same time frame each month based on the engagement length. And then there's even late fees, there's scene receipts, there's reminders that get sent out automatically. So it's very powerful. And then I also use Bonsai for accounting as well. So you can see here, this is what the dashboard looks like. Makes it very simple just to log in here and see how much money is coming into the business, how much money am I spending. And then it also runs some automatic accounting reports like a P&L statement. I also get info on how much it thinks I should be paying in taxes, estimated taxes each quarter, which is very helpful for keeping me on track with that. I can automate the expenses. And I also use its banking tools as well, which is very helpful because essentially I'm able to get it to automatically integrate with the Profit First banking system. So every time a client pays me, certain percentages of that payment are broken out automatically. So the money I need to pay in taxes is automatically set aside, and then I send that to a separate bank account just for paying taxes. the money that I need to pay myself, the take-home pay is automatically set aside. So then I distribute that right to my personal bank account. And then the money to pay all the business expenses is set aside, as well as money is set aside for profit. So it just makes my accounting super, super simple. Before this, I was a bit of a hot mess in the accounting department, I will not lie. But Bonsai, highly recommended. It is really a great all-in-one tool. I'm going to be coming out with a video very shortly all about how I use it day in and day out to run and operate my business. Sticking with the financial side here, when it comes to business banking, I use Novo as my business bank account. This was the best solution I found when I was doing research for banks, because compared to the traditional like brick and mortar type banks like Bank of America or Capital One, you get a free account here and you don't need any minimums in the account. So if you're a freelancer, this is a great option. It's also got a bunch of banking options and bookkeeping, accounting type stuff. I don't really use it for all that stuff because I have Bonsai. I mainly just use this as my business bank account. I put everything on a credit card. I use a Capital One Spark credit card, and then I pay it off with this bank. This way I get rewards, and it's been a great bank. I've never had any issues. Whenever I do need to make wire transfers though, I do use Novo, and it's always very fast and efficient. So highly recommend, very seamless. I've used it for a few years, and honestly, I've never had a problem. Going on to project management. If you're not using a project management tool to run your freelance consultancy or agency, you got to get on one ASAP, because it is going to completely streamline how you run and operate your client accounts. I use Basecamp, and I've made a video all about how I use Basecamp to manage web design and marketing projects. I'm going to link that above here, but it is great because whenever you're taking on a project, you have a client dashboard here essentially. So we have a message board, we have rooms for different tasks. So I'll break it out with marketing tasks or website tasks. We have a docs and files section here. So it just operates as a client dashboard. So this way things don't get lost via email. The client can log in and use this to get any documents we've been working on, and everything is automatically kept handy here. A schedule gets built out as due dates are assigned to tasks. I also use it for client communication as well, which is very helpful. And what I like about it is that the client doesn't even need to necessarily log into Basecamp, but rather it syncs with their email. So they get an email copy of every message in Basecamp, both in the message board and in the tasks. And then eventually, as you continue to communicate with your clients in Basecamp, a message thread will get delivered. People can mark off tasks. It's very efficient and makes it a breeze to collaborate with clients. So I highly recommend Basecamp. And one of the best features about it is that you can have unlimited projects and unlimited clients and collaborators, and you just need to pay a flat fee of, I believe, $15 a month. So it's a very cost-effective solution, has a lot of great features. It has like templates for getting projects organized and set up very quickly. I used to come from ClickUp. I just thought it was a bit overkill and it was getting very expensive as my business was growing. So I have since transitioned to Basecamp almost 2 years ago at this point, and it has been a great tool for my project management needs. Transitioning a bit from operations to content creation / marketing, the tool I use to edit all of these videos, at least as of this moment, is Descript, because I just find it super quick and easy to edit these talking head style videos, of which I primarily do. I find, at least for me in my workflow, it is just much more efficient to edit the text of the transcript versus needing to listen and then go back and then make the cuts. I do have like basic editing knowledge, but I do want to learn Premiere Pro or Final Cut this year. That is one of my goals, to get a little bit better with that. But also, one of the main reasons why I use Descript is that on top of just the ease of editing with the transcript-based timeline editing feature, there are so many AI tools just built in. So if we look at one of my projects here recently, as you'll see, this was about Google Ads. There's this Underlord category, that's what they call their AI bot essentially. And here there are just so many tools. So you can remove filler words, which is like words like or it'll automatically cut that out. You can remove retakes. So if you say the same sentence 3 times in a row, it'll find what it thinks is your best take and then automatically cut out the other ones. And then it'll shorten word gaps in between your words. There's a bunch of other things here. It'll automatically find descriptions and show notes and chapters for the video. It really has taken a bunch of the admin type work when it comes to editing and completely freed it up. So I'm able to get 50% of the edit done in 2 minutes pretty much, and then the rest of the edit is just putting together the video. So it really does free up a lot of time, and it makes it easier than ever to edit videos. So I highly recommend Descript, especially if you don't have any experience making videos but you want to get started. I think Descript is a fantastic first editor, and I am a huge fan of Descript. Now, Descript does have its own built-in screen recorder, which I will use for very basic screen recordings or whenever I'm doing like a quick client communication. But if I'm trying to do a bit more of an advanced screen recording, which I like to do for this YouTube channel, I will use a tool called TV. It's got a bunch of easy to use features. I do find that it just records the screen in a better aspect ratio compared to Descript, where sometimes I'll find that like important information gets cut off. But I really like it because there's a bunch of interactive features. The main thing I like most about Tela is that it's got a bunch of cool effects. So for example, you can have transitions, you can have zoom effects, you can have all these cool, nice backgrounds. Overall, I just find it makes for a much more polished package when producing videos. So that's why I like to use it for YouTube. However, when it comes to just more like daily Loom style videos, I use Descript. If you follow me on LinkedIn, which you can find my profile linked in the description of this video, you'll see that sometimes I post short form video clips. I haven't been doing it recently just because honestly, I find that there's a lot of spam on LinkedIn and I'm not sure like really who's engaging with it anyway. But if I am ever going to create short form content, and it's not going to be organic short form content, so it's gonna be clipped from one of these long form YouTube videos, the tool I go with is Opus Clip, which is the industry standard for this. It is super helpful. You can literally just give it a link or upload a video file of a completed video, and then using AI, it's going to automatically find the best clips of the content. And then you do have several editing options. There are templates as well to speed up the editing. And then you can build out an entire social calendar. When I was serious about posting on LinkedIn every day, after making these long form YouTube videos, I was able to build out a month's worth of content, so posting every weekday in probably about an hour of time. Whereas if I had to do this manually with the video editing tool, then honestly that would have probably taken me at least 4 or 5 hours. So it is highly worth it. The pricing is fairly, I would say, reasonable, especially if you can get the limited time offer, which they always seem to have on. So highly recommend Opus Clip if you're looking to take your long form content and start putting it for shorts or reels or even TikTok. Now, in my work as a web designer, oftentimes I do need to do a lot of graphic design type stuff. My go-to tool for serious stuff is Pixelmator Pro. Reason why is that I got on Pixelmator Pro as a college student when there was no way I was going to be able to afford the all-encompassing Adobe Creative Cloud subscription. But I really like Pixelmator Pro. I honestly use it for a lot of like photo editing and like more intense graphic design type stuff that Figma can't handle. Don't worry, we will be talking about Figma later on in this video. But honestly, I find it to be very powerful. I've never once thought I need to get on Photoshop. So yeah, if you're looking for a really solid graphic design tool, you can even deal with some like SVG type stuff occasionally here as well. If you're looking for a very powerful graphic design tool, but you don't want to pay that Adobe Creative Cloud subscription month after month, it's also recently been purchased by Apple, but even before then, they were super integrated with Apple. It takes advantage of the M series chips super well, and it's always updated to have the latest Apple design language. So highly recommend Pixelmator Pro if you're looking for a powerful graphic design tool. It's a lot more powerful than Canva, for example, but you don't want to pay the monthly cost. I also used to use Affinity Designer as well, or Affinity Photo, the Photoshop competitor from Affinity, but honestly I found it to be a little bit overkill and just a little too complicated for my current level of graphic design. So if you want a powerful graphic design tool similar to Photoshop, but perhaps you're a bit more of a novice or you just want a simpler interface to get in and get out, then I highly recommend Pixelmator Pro. So now let's talk about the browser I use for all the work I do day in and day out, and that is going to be Arc, as you can see here. So I really like Arc because number one, it has this like full view, as you can see here. And so we don't have a bunch of room getting taken up by the toolbar, and you can even have a quick keyboard shortcut that will get rid of that. So it could be like super minimalist, which I like a lot as well here. And also I do like the sidebar feature, and you can just Command S to get in and out of it. For some reason, to me, for my mind now, this is just a lot better to use than the traditional Chrome browser. I also like how you can have different spaces. So I have a personal space, as you can see here, and then I have a workspace, and then throughout the day, I will switch in and out of that. Unfortunately, they have stopped development of it. It's just getting basic updates as of this moment, but apparently they are working on a very cool new browser shortly. I'm looking forward to seeing what they get up to there. Now, oftentimes as a marketing strategist, especially when I'm working on web design projects, I will need a library to pull stock photos out of or just get creative assets, and that is what I use FreePic for. So if you want to have stock photos, it is very helpful for that. So if I wanted to say I was working with like an accounting firm team, you can get some really high quality photos. I believe it's 150-ish or so a month, but I would say you really do get what you pay for. I also will use it a lot for like textures. So if I'm working with a client and maybe we want to integrate mountain textures, I'll use this, and then I'll look for like vector type assets, for example, and then I'll try to pull something out that I think could be usable. So this is great for like website backgrounds or textures. Another thing I like about FreePic is that it has this AI suite. I was using Midjourney a while to generate images, but honestly, I wasn't having to use it enough to justify the separate subscription. But I did recently see that Ron Segal endorsed FreePic, this AI suite, over Midjourney, so it is certainly pretty legit, I would say, at this point. You'll see here I was generating images of modern day Cary Grant. I was generating images of Napoleon in Denver, and then from robots and offices, stuff like this for a project I was working on, architecture. So yeah, it is always improving, and I do like how you have all these tools here to really dial in the look you're going for in the different style and stuff. I really do need to play around with this a bit more, but I highly recommend the FreePic AI suite because you can do a lot of really cool stuff with it. And as far as I know, you don't need to pay any extra credits. It's just automatically included with your FreePic Pro subscription. All right, as long as we're talking about AI, we might as well get into it. For a lot of the day-to-day work I do, I will use ChatGPT, obviously. The way I use it is that I'll have a thread for every different client project, and that way all the context gets saved in one window, which can be very helpful. But as you can see, I'm using it for everything, whether my Kindle's not working for some reason, or the oil light goes on in my car, or I'm trying to recover from food poisoning. I'm using ChatGPT for everything. When it comes to copywriting, however, I have moved over to Claude AI because honestly, I'm finding that I get much better results copywriting wise with it, and you're able to control its output and its style and its tone a lot more than compared to ChatGPT, where I'll find with ChatGPT, even if I do try to give it some very specific direction in terms of how I want it to have its style or tone be, I'll find that over time it just loses that and just reverts to its default, even if I tell it not to do that. So Claude AI is what I use for copywriting, and I've heard a lot of people say that it's not only better for copywriting, but it's also better than ChatGPT for code as well. If you're a casual AI assistant user, then I would say you probably don't need to use Claude, mainly because you have to pay $20 a month. There is no free plan. And also, even though you do need to pay, I'm always running into limits, so that is very frustrating. But if you're a casual user, ChatGPT is going to be getting you plenty far. However, if you do a lot of writing or a lot of coding, then you definitely want to look into AI because I do think it's probably the best model for those two specific tasks as of this moment. All right, now let's move into how I use Notion to run and manage my business. So first and foremost here, I use it for YouTube content planning. So I have ideas, then we move it to each different stage of production here. So this makes it super easy for me to see what is needing to get done and what's in progress. And then you'll see as I assign dates to things, I have a filming schedule, I have a publishing schedule, makes it super easy to stay organized and on top of all the content stuff I'm trying to do. And then you'll also see as I will plan out a video. So this is what I'm thinking about doing of trying Framer for the first time. As I do that, you'll see that I'm able to generate, this is a template here. So I generate titles. I'll try to find thumbnails from other creators and use that for inspiration. We have a hook that gets written out, the outline, everything, as you can see, and then an SOP as well. So this makes it super easy to where making these videos is just like filling out forms in a way, and I just need to fill out the form, and then of course I need to record and edit and produce and all that type of stuff. But this just makes it super easy to stay organized. Another thing I use it for is like my business journal, if you will, or at least my writing center. So you'll see here I have a weekly plan that I've gone over how I do this in the past, but my weekly plans live here. I do all my business planning here. So this was some stuff I was working on over the new year. And then YouTube content like we talked about, a lot of reflection and planning. So this is where some other high value thinking docs, like my personal strategic plan, my business strategic plan, all lives here. And thinking time. So if I just need to think about topics very deeply, I just have something in here where I can brain dump stuff and it's all saved here. I like this better than Apple Notes because of the markup features of Notion. Just makes it easier to write things. And then I also use it for a lot for personal stuff as well. So media lists for things I want to check out, movies, all that type of stuff. This life design planner, which is personal, so I don't want to show it, but it's a very organized way to stay organized on all my goals and things of that nature. So that's what I'm using that for. So Notion is my main note-taking tool, and also just houses a bunch of other information and ways I'm thinking about the business. Now, when it comes to business cards, whether I go networking, I actually don't have a physical business card at the moment. I need to get on that. But I do have a digital business card, which I like a lot because as you can see here, this is what it looks like. So if I'm at a networking event, someone can just scan my QR code and then this will pop up. They can save my contact, but then check out all my other stuff. So this is actually free, and that's how I can capture their information. So if you're looking for a digital business card, which I would recommend even if you do have a business card, because you never know when you're going to be out and about meeting a potential client, you want to at least have this as a backup. Highly recommend Popple. Now, when the time comes to design and order physical business cards, I'm going to be using Moo. This is a service I've recommended to clients in the past, as well as the agency I used to work at had Moo business cards. I had one of them as well, and they are very nice. They have a bunch of really well-designed templates, as you can see. The pricing is a bit much, but you do get what you pay for, and the quality and like the thickness of the paper is very high-end. So highly recommend Moo if you're looking for some polished new business cards. On to email marketing. So I'm going to begin email marketing aggressively this year just to stay in touch with the list I am going to be building from all my different content efforts. And I did a lot of research over the break in terms of what is going to be the best tools for my needs. And I've come to the conclusion that Flowdesk is going to be, because number one, they have a lot of really well-designed templates here, as you can see. And so one of the things I'm trying to offer to all my clients, of course, is high-end polished design. So Flowdesk is going to be great for that, because I really don't love the look of a lot of those basic email templates. And you can see these are very well stylized. But another main reason was that when it comes to the pricing, you just need to pay a flat fee per month, and then you don't need to pay anymore as your list grows. Whereas if we look at the other main tool that I was considering, which is Kit, you need to pay more as your list grows. So if you had, we'll say, 35,000 people on your list, you got to pay like nearly $3,000 a year. So it can quickly add up, whereas Flowdesk is like $300 a year. And the link I'm going to include in the description of the video, if you want to learn more about Flowdesk, will give you 50% off your first year. So if you're interested in Flowdesk, highly recommend you use my link and you can save half off your first year. All right, next, so when it comes to scheduling content on social media, I like to use Buffer because one, it has all the functionality you expect out of these social media scheduling tools. Much more functionality, even if you were to use the built-in scheduling tools that are offered by many of these platforms. But what I like is that you just need to pay $5 a month or $60 a year per platform. So if you're only going to be on LinkedIn and that's all you needed to do to schedule content, then this is going to be a great option for you, because you can save a lot of money versus needing to pay like $300 a year for only trying to schedule out your content on one platform. Buffer is the most cost-effective social media scheduling tool I have found, and that's why it's the one I use. Next, when it comes to the CRM of choice, I use Pipedrive because I have found that Pipedrive is super simple, and that is what actually leads me to updating the CRM and keeping things organized. The best CRM is the one you use, so that's why I like Pipedrive, but it's also very customizable. So for example, you can have separate funnels based on the different project types you have. So if a client reaches out to me for a web design project, I have a different funnel via the different steps a prospect needs to go through in that funnel versus a marketing retainer, for example. I also do like how you can assign tasks and due dates so you can make sure to follow up with your clients. It also does have a really solid reporting dashboard. That has been really great. I did help one of my clients set this up where we're building out an entire sales dashboard that gets automatically updated. Very cool. You can set goals, for example, and then track your revenue goals towards that, which is super helpful. And then pricing is fairly reasonable, I would say. And then one of the main things I will say I like about it is that it has templated emails. So if I'm going to follow up with a prospective client, there are templates built in for that to make it super fast and easy for me. And then also it has dedicated email tracking. So if I send an email through this, I'm able to see when they open it, when they click on links, things of that nature. So it can really help inform how often you should potentially be following up with prospective clients in your pipeline. So if you're looking for a CRM, highly recommend Pipedrive. I've been using it for over a year now. And again, no plans to switch. Now, when I said at the start of this video that we are going to be covering every tool I use in my business, we really meant it, and that's why I'm covering Google Voice here. So if you need to get a business phone number, which you probably do just for signing up for accounts and things like that, I use Google Voice because one, it's free and you can get a free business phone number with the local area code you want to use. But also, if you're going to be traveling or going overseas, you can use this to make calls over the internet and you don't need to pay any extra fees or get like a foreign phone number. This has bailed me out numerous times when I was over in Europe working remote. So if you need a business phone number and you don't want to pay, which I imagine you probably don't like me, then Google Voice is a fantastic option. Another content tool here, so TubeBuddy is what I use to do keyword research on YouTube videos, although I don't really heavily prioritize the keyword too much, as well as just to get a look at what the competition is for the different types of video topics I'm planning. $3 a month, has a bunch of other tools, so it is very good if you want a little YouTube SEO tool. All right, now we're getting on to the tools I primarily use in my web design and development work. Of course, we gotta start with the builder I'm using, and if you've been following this channel, you know what I use. It's called Webflow. It is the best website builder on the market, in my opinion. Certainly, at least for my needs in terms of building high-end, high-quality client websites that are going to have super clean code. So Webflow is my go-to tool for that. All my client sites are built on Webflow. All my business sites are built with Webflow. It is a little pricey, but I do think it is by far the best tool on the market. It is not something you can use without any coding or at least web design knowledge. So if you are a bit more of a novice in that category, I would say Squarespace is the best bet. If you are more of a designer though, who doesn't want to learn how to code, I would recommend Framer. That is something I want to take more of a look at this year as well because it does look very cool. But yeah, Webflow is my tool for designing and building websites. I used to use WordPress. I've made videos on that in the past when it comes to switching to Webflow. Once I did switch to Webflow, I will tell you I have never looked back. And honestly, if you're still using WordPress at this point in time, honestly, to me, you're in the Stone Age, respectfully. All right, now before any development work gets done, of course, we need to design the website as well as do a bunch of other things in terms of graphic design. So that's what I use Figma for. So all the UX wireframes I create are in Figma. All the UI wireframes I create are in Figma. And then I also use it for like graphic design, for example. So for making YouTube thumbnails, I use Figma. I just find it's a lot easier to ideate and create different variations of thumbnails quickly versus a dedicated graphic design tool like Pixelmator Pro. It's also not as powerful, but at least for my thumbnail needs, Figma has been working very well. When it comes to website analytics, unfortunately, I'm still using Google Analytics, mostly just because it's free. But I gotta say, Google Analytics for it is just a total trash can, honestly. That's the nicest thing I could possibly say about it. I feel like compared to Universal Analytics, everything is just much more complicated in Google Analytics. They change the interface every 6 months, so you can't find the same report that you used to pull for clients. It slows down sites. And honestly, I just really don't like using it. So this year I'm going to be looking at alternatives. If you have a analytics tool you're very happy with, I've heard like good things about User Maven, for example. Let me know in the comments if you have a tool you recommend. I'm very intrigued by Webflow's analytics. However, that's $30 a month, $360 a year. That's per website, mind you. So does it really need to cost several hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, just to get some basic analytics on the website? I certainly hope not. Also, Google Analytics 4 is super cumbersome in terms of setting up like custom event tracking and like funnel tracking and things of that nature. And I know for a fact I am not the only one who's been very disappointed with Google Analytics 4. So honestly, it is what it is. It's probably the best free option on the market. It's certainly the most powerful, but is it easy to use? Is it intuitive? Is it fun? No, it's not. In terms of the SEO analytics I manage for my clients, as well as for doing competitive research and running technical site audits, the tool I use is going to be SE ranking. I recently did a video all about how I use this in my client project, so I'm going to link that above here as well if you want to learn more. But SE ranking, in my view, is going to be much better than tools like Ahrefs or SEMrush because it's a fraction of the price. But if we pull in the data, we are getting just as good data essentially. So I highly recommend getting on SE ranking if you're looking for a very good but also affordable SEO tool. All right, as we keep going here, so one of the tools that has become indispensable to my web design workflow has become Rayloom. Number one, not just because of the sitemaps they have here, but also just the AI site builder. So this has dramatically sped up my workflow because if we were to launch this here and sign into my account, you will see that now, number one, not only do we have an entire Figma library, so I will use the Figma UI kit, which has all the components here, but the Webflow library has thousands of components at this point. I've done multiple videos on Rayloom. I will link the latest one here, but you can see it just makes it super easy to have all these responsively built out sections, as well as a style guide where you can edit colors and typography globally. Honestly, I estimate Rayloom probably saves me like 20 plus hours on every single website build. So it is a huge time saver if you're not already using it. They also do have an AI site builder, which makes it super easy to build out pages and then bring them into Figma for further editing. And they are also launching this style guide, which is looking very huge. And actually I am in the beta. I got a sneak preview access to it. So expect a video on the channel shortly all about the style guide builder because that legitimately looks insane and I'm very interested in checking it out soon. All right, now when it comes to scheduling meetings with my clients, what I use is Calendly. So say we need to have a quick 15-minute call, I can simply send them a link to my calendar and then they're able to see my availability and book time automatically. So it just takes so much of the back and forth away from scheduling meetings via email, and then a calendar invite is sent to us both automatically, and then there's a Zoom link, and then we're good to go. So I think it's like $100 a year, but it saves me so much time in back and forth emails. It's much more convenient for my clients, and so I highly recommend it. Now, when it comes to meetings themselves, I used to use Google Meet because it's built in free with the Google Office suite, which is what I use for my emails and things like that. But recently, I decided to purchase a Zoom plan because what you get here is these automatic AI meeting summaries, which are huge. I now no longer even need to take notes for my meetings, which I love because now I can be much more present with the person I'm speaking with. But also, it's just great because instead of like those other third-party tools where there's like a bot in the meeting with you, which I think is just like, it just gives people a weird feeling, honestly. This is built into the background. They don't even know it's there, but then you get a super awesome overview of everything you discussed along with action items and next steps. You do need to go over it and make sure it's all accurate. Sometimes it doesn't exactly get it right, but I find it's like 95% accurate. And this is really one of the best use cases of AI at the moment is these automatic meeting summaries. This way I'm able to send clients a super detailed meeting summary shortly after our meeting, and it only takes me like 5 minutes to put together. Whereas before, if I were to send these recaps manually, it wasn't as high quality, and doing it myself, it meant every post meeting I had like 20 minutes of admin work at least to do. All right, and then finally, when it comes to creating interactive lead generation forums, what I use is Video Ask. So I am working on creating a few new of these as well for some projects I'm working on. But Video Ask, in my view, and I show this to all my clients, everyone is super impressed with it as soon as they see it and sees the value right away. But to me, much more interactive, makes your website an experience, and you get these conditional video step-by-step forms, and you're able to build a personal relationship with the prospect on the other end. So in my experience, many times this will improve the lead generation efforts of my clients' marketing campaigns compared to traditional forums, which I find that are just very boring. Everyone's got the same form. And really, honestly, I would say this Video Ask tool significantly differentiates you and your company from the competition, and it's just going to give you a big competitive edge. So I highly recommend looking into Video Ask if you're looking to spice up your lead generation efforts. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that is the video for today. I hope you got a lot of value out of it, and I hope it was interesting for you to see all the different tools I am using both in my day-to-day client work, as well as the tools I use to manage and promote my business to prospective clients. If you enjoyed watching this video, definitely subscribe to the channel because I'm going to be coming out with videos more in depth on some of these tools I use. The next one I plan on making is a quick overview on that Bonsai tool because that is really the centralized dashboard in which I run my business from. But I'm also planning on doing a bunch of other reviews as well as some future case study videos, vlogs, behind the scenes, case studies, you name it. So definitely subscribe to the channel. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for watching. Bye.